So I own one of the most expensive Warhammer models you can currently buy, the Warlord Titan, or for those that have been here for a while, the Grey One. But I think a lot of you that have been watching this channel know where this video is going. Warhammer is not only the most popular tabletop war game, but also the most expensive. And it just so happens that a lot of the cool large models are unfortunately made of resin, which means you get the Forge World tax. But just because they're so large and expensive doesn't mean you should be intimidated by them. So let's talk about it. But welcome back everyone, it's me the Warhammer complaining guy, Revan/Handy, destroyer of wallets, and maker of terrible financial decisions. Back with another video that can hopefully captivate everyone's short attention span. But before we dive into today's subject matter, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe, and maybe share it with your friends. Every bit helps me and my cat Chessie, and if you want to be a Giga Chad, maybe become a channel member too for channel updates, cat photos, early access to new videos, and the exclusive member section of the Discord. So once again, thank you for all your support, it means a lot, and I greatly appreciate every bit of it. Also, every other Monday is now going to be a miniature feedback and critique stream, so post your minis in the Discord and start times will be announced the week prior. But back to today's subject matter. Over the years, I've acquired many large Warhammer models, but none as infamous as the Grey One, aka my Warlord Titan. So how did I end up buying the most expensive Warhammer model? Well, let me tell you a short story. So it all started back in 2011 with Space Marine 1 in the Lucius Pattern Warlord Titan level. After playing that level, I wanted one, and unfortunately, there was no model. Jump to the year 2015, and I saw an article online for the largest Warhammer miniature ever made, the Warlord Titan. And I went, hey, I want that. And then I saw the price. Fast forward. The year is October 2018, and it's my last hurrah as a cosplayer at Stan Lee's LA Comic Con's cosplay contest. And after many agonizing hours in full armor, I won first place. Let's go! My winnings were a trophy, medallion, 3D print of me in my costume, and a very large chunk of money. I then bought a new PC and of course the Warlord Titan. And that's the story of how I got a Warlord Titan as my first Warhammer miniature, along with a Porphyrion a few months later. Now I'm sure a lot of you are asking why buy this model instead of an army or two. Well, one, you can't tell me how to spend my money, and two, the point I Warhammer home,
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
in a lot of my videos is the rule of cool. And what's cooler than a giant mech that towers over all the other miniatures you own? And before anyone mentions the coffee table, yes, I know that's a close second if you can even get a hold of one. But deep down, we dig giant robots, and so do chicks. And yes, that's a Megas XLR reference, and I know a Titan is a mech. But honestly, who cares? It's a walking mountain, depending on the writer, of course. Nothing is cooler than that. With its giant city-leveling weapons with names like Apocalypse Missile Launcher, Volcano Cannon, Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator, or Quake Cannon. Titans are just really cool models that scream rule of cool because they're also the giant centerpiece of a collection even if you collect knights. A Titan will always be that one model that demands the attention of others because you don't see them too often since they're so damn expensive. But now it's time to talk about why they're so damn expensive. First, the most obvious, because it's Forge World. And if you just recently got into Warhammer, I'm sure you're asking, what's Forge World? Well, many years ago, GW had a separate entity called Forge World, which contained every single model associated with the Horus Heresy before they were plastic, and some special 40k models all made of cast resin. Cast resin is different from plastic injection molding because you need to make a master model, then make a mold out of silicon of that master, and then you can start using said mold to make resin minis like Space Marines, Dreadnoughts, and more importantly, the many flavors of Titans. This is because back then, injection molding wasn't that great and resin could capture more details except for fine cast, but we honestly don't talk about that. Unfortunately, because these parts are cast using two-part molds, what happens a lot is called mold shift, which simply means that the mold shifted, so you get f***ed up parts like this or even destroyed details like this. Another thing that happens is mold degradation, where every cast made degrades the mold little by little until it's no longer usable because GW runs their molds into the ground. So then once that happens, the process of making a mold starts all over again. This, as I'm sure you're aware, takes a lot of time and work, hence why Forge World models are often more expensive than plastic models, because you also have to take labor costs into account. Because this is way slower than just using an injection mold that can pump out thousands of minis in a day. Add on top of that there are only a few people working in the Forge World department of GW at Nottingham, so they have to make miniatures for the whole world. It also doesn't help that the head of Forge World passed away early 9th edition, and and he was actually the one that wrote all the Forge World rules, and when he passed away, that's when GW started legendsing everything. Another thing to consider is that every one of these kits has multiple cast parts, from the smallest to the largest of models, so some parts are bound to be forgotten in the packaging process, which is why I'll give it to GW. Their customer service is top notch when it comes to either replacing missing or broken parts, or even miscast parts. They'll send you a replacement part or even a whole new kit. Also, a quick note, I'm not trying to justify these prices and quality, even I think they're stupid compared to the cost of Warhammer models made in
China!
But that's unfortunately the cost of producing models domestically, but now you see why it takes so long for Forge World models to go back in stock if they ever do, and also why they're so damn expensive, of course. Another thing too is that resin is much more fragile than plastic, so of course you have to handle them with care when you go to the game store with your brand new carrying case from the sponsor of today's video, Tabletop Stronghold. If you play Warhammer or any other tabletop war games, do yourself a favor and get a Mag Case 2.0 to protect those fragile and expensive resin minis you might own. Because no matter the size of your army, the Mag Case 2.0 comes in multiple sizes for any faction and also doubles as a display case. But the Mag Case 2.0 is the perfect choice to protect those resin bricks with its strong MDF construction, clear front display panel, and adjustable magnetic trays created by the all-powerful Magnet Wizard. You'll find that perfect mag case that suits your needs, like the Mag Case Mini for me, because it not only fits my entire Battletech collection and my Custodes and Dark Angels army, but depending on the size you choose, it could even fit a Knight's army. Warlord Titan, not so much. But if you want to help me help you, use my link in the pinned comment or description and use code CRAFT25 for 25% off your next order. So thank you Tabletop Stronghold for sponsoring this video. If you want to get any mag case or case and terrain combo that ships to pretty much anywhere in the world for free, go to tabletopstronghold.com. Okay, so now that you know why Forge World costs so damn much, let's talk about the Warlord Titan. So for those of you that are new here, I own almost every single customization option for the Warlord Titan. I'm only missing the missile launchers and the power claw. And yes, I even own the exclusive Titan heads, like the highly coveted Lucius Alpha head, which was only produced for about a year, and the Mars Beta head. And of course, everything is magnetized, so I can swap everything depending on how I want to display it, even though it's not painted yet. Update on that more towards the end of the video. A lot of the magnets I used can be bought from Apex Magnets, hashtag not sponsored, and I honestly recommend you buy these for any Forge World model or large plastic model over magnets off of Amazon. Because while yes, some of the larger magnets are expensive like the Hand Crusher 9000, but they need to be strong in order to hold up the weight of a large resin brick, because if they weren't, I couldn't do this. Some of the magnets I used were 12x6mm for the carapace weapons, 8x5 for the heads, 3x1 for the void shields, 5x2 so I could swap the plasma annihilator to either arm, these cylinder magnets right here I'm not even gonna bother saying out loud, and then finally the Hand Crusher 9000 that has 49 pounds of pull force, which is 1 inch by half an inch. Also, did I mention you have to pin this bad boy and frankly any other large Forge World model? Because if you didn't, it's just a disaster waiting to happen because a lot of these models are resin bricks, and what I mean by this is that they are so damn heavy that super glue ain't gonna cut it. You gotta use 2-part epoxy like JB Weld or even some stronger Loctite. It also might be a good idea to attach some of the larger magnets with those stronger glues too. Just make sure you don't f up the polarity. But don't make this scare you. A lot of these models are a lot of work, but it's not difficult work. You just gotta know what to do, and with a little research, you'll find it's actually a really enjoyable experience compared to the newer plastic models. After all, the Warlord Titan was my first Warhammer miniature or bigature, because if you can build a large resin model, you can pretty much build any other smaller Warhammer model. So now remember how I said I had an update on getting the gray one painted? Well, this is it right here. So I'm hoping to start painting my large resin bricks like my Titan and Knights sometime this year, and this is a promise. I finally have the space for an airbrush booth, and I plan to save up for a waterfall booth because I'm not allowed to cut a vent into the garage wall, and these are also expensive. So probably sometime around August or September once I get enough revenue from YouTube. But a lot of this can't be streamed, so I will be turning this into a video series. But you know what I can stream? Testing out color schemes on spare panels I have from miscast parts, and also painting the Knights and Titans skeletal structure, if it can fit in frame, which I will periodically be streaming when I feel like I need a painting break. So look forward to that, but thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, leave a like and comment along with subscribing, and maybe becoming a member too on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch to speed up getting the waterfall booth. But I'll see you all in the next video, and remember, when you play Warhammer, being poor is a choice.